Enzo. Enzo's one of them. Yeah, I don't really like Enzo that much. I mean, I know what they were going for, but I just don't like him. Anyway. Another dance is we don't get the players rodent. And or at least not yet. I'm not sure if we can, but it sounds like we can't. But because Rodent has some fighting potential. We could. Oh, second, the aforementioned Sean being called Cereza or Bayonetta in the cinematics, and having two Johns, which is kind of jarring to be honest. But at least she has her own voice. He's in other events and her own personality, so you know, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad. Anyway, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad. Yeah, it's not all. The story, like I said, is not for anyone who's highly religious. The game in total isn't for highly religious. Yeah, the game in general isn't for anyone highly religious. Anyway, anyway, and then there's the, and yeah, so you can lock on the different is, but if you're focusing on one, you can sometimes end up, you know, locking onto another enemy. So I had to clear my bow. and if you don't have those automatic things turned on, yeah, it can really screw you over. And if, well, that's actually if your dodging game isn't on point, it can really screw you over. And needless to say, that can end up very badly for you. Then there's some of the he's watered, and then there's Figrid, and then there's also here's an idea. Put a time limit, and I'm glad they didn't put a time limit on John for the entire game, making you have to worry so much. So you can just take in the scenery. But at the same time, again, and if you also, the challenges are kind of and Muslim are kind of grueling and can be unforgiving if you're unprepared to meet their demands. I guess what music film is. It's basically a challenge setup. We perform certain challenges and get certain ranks. And getting platinum rank in this game is hard. I mean hard. You have so much trouble trying to get that platinum rank, and I'm not even joking. Another downside is that the story is that Loki turns out to be a Deus Ex Machina. I mean, yes, it's basically, I mean, it is great that they defeat Asia, but it's basically to Deus Ex Machina. I don't even know who's counting. Because it takes him using a special card to destroy the eyes of the world that Asia had. Not to mention, and this is more from a personal point, Barter has to sacrifice himself. This is a good story of it, but for me, this is kind of a downside. That music that's playing when he says, "My dear sweet child will make the feels come out of you." I lightweight almost cried when that scene happened. But that's more from a personal note, not from a gaming standard. From a gaming standard, that's alright. Also, you can't skip the... Another downside though is that you can't skip the credits, the first. Is that no matter how... You can't skip the main credits, but once they get to the Moon River credits, you can skip them. Which I don't get. Which I really don't get. Anyway. Final thoughts. It's a good game. It's a almost perfect game that needs some polishing over. If they ever make a sequel, if they ever make a third game, you know. If they ever make a third game, they can always iron those things out. Now, how would I rate this game? I would have to say, despite all its flaws, I'll give it a 10 out. I'll give it like maybe. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's perfect. It's perfect. Almost. Alright. That's the end of this one. Now the next video we're gonna do is Blaze Blue Corner Fantastic Extend. Peace. For a few minutes.